Fuck if I know. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? My name is Major Stinka, and today I just wanted to talk about something that's been bothering me. Oh shit! Something that's been really irking me. Just really getting my nerves. Just really getting under my skin. It's a big topic right now. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's making videos about it. It's a Stranger Things finale. Now, I've seen some people defend the finale and say that it's a good ending, and that if you're a real fan of the show and you've been watching it all this time, then it's for you. It should be good because you know because all the characters get closing outs and everything. Fuck you. Those people that say that shit, um, quite honestly, they have no idea what they're talking about. And I just wanted to come on here and just rant about it because it's just so stupid. It's just so annoying how people can watch something like that after tuning into every season and every episode for almost 10 years and watch a finale like that and think, yeah, that was okay, that was good, I like that. Nothing about it was good. Nothing about season 5 in general was good. I mean, there were a couple good parts, but like overall, the whole thing just was really mediocre compared to the other seasons, at least in my opinion. Um, let's just start off with one of the bigger things. The start of season 5 did not feel as serious as the end of season 4 at all. Because at the end of season 4, you have Hawkins literally ripping to shreds. Like there are holes and everywhere in Hawkins, opening up to a completely different dimension. Everywhere in Hawkins, like everything is opening up. There are these giant portals everywhere, all throughout Hawkins. And and then you get to season 5, and all of a sudden the military has just covered them all up with big concrete slabs, and everyone in Hawkins is just kind of like, that was weird. Must just be the earthquakes. Earthquakes? I mean, and I just find it hard to believe that this town, full of people, and no one saw anything, other than an earthquake. Like no one saw the giant holes opening in the ground with a portal underneath. They didn't see like this weird goopy shit and the red fucking lights coming through the holes, and no one thought to be like, are you sure that's just an earthquake? Like, are we sure that's what that is? I'm gonna take my glasses off because I feel like it's distracting. No one had any thoughts about that. Everyone was just like, no, earthquakes, except our main cast, of course, but they already knew what was going on. Like how did the military cover that up in such a short time that everybody in Hawkins could not suspect anything at all? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And the start of season 5 and the end of season 4, like the end of season 4, there was a lot of urgency to get things done. Like they had to get this shit done quick. And then at the start of season 5 and throughout season 5, to be honest with you, no one is really rushing to do anything. Like it's just like it just feels very chillaxed. you know um and obviously, like, during the last episode, it didn't feel really super chillaxed. I mean, everybody was obviously rushing to get shit done, but still, I don't know. It just felt like it just felt like there was a big disconnect between season 4 and season 5, or the end of season 4 and the beginning of season 5, and that was one of the issues that I had starting off. But I just really, I mainly want to talk about just the finale, because the finale just kind of threw a bunch of shit away that should not have been thrown away, and it just really pissed me off because I've been a Stranger Things fan since it came out. Like I started watching it when it first came out when I was in 7th grade. So I was about 14 years old when the show first came out. And I watched all of season 1 with my family, and we all loved it. It was really good. Like the first season was amazing. And ever since then, I've been watching it, tuning in. I didn't watch season 4 right when it came out, but I did still watch season 4. But either way, um I mean, I've been, watching the show since I was 14 years old, and getting to know these characters since I was 14. I'm 22 now, and the show's just ended. And so obviously, like, it is, like, Stranger Things does hold, like, a nostalgic place in my heart because I've been watching it for so long. And it's been, I mean, it's been one of those shows that's been a part of my life since I was in 7th fucking grade. So obviously, I do have some stronger emotions about this finale. But I want to talk about one of the biggest problems that I had was the whole fight between Vecna and the Mind Flayer and the group of kids. Um, it was not it was a good fight. It was just an insanely short fight, and for the time it lasted, it was good. But after it was over, I thought to myself, that was the most mediocre thing I think I've ever watched. And the reason why is because we have this gigantic fucking interdimensional evil being who suddenly comes alive in his true physical form, and he looks badass. I really, the one thing I did like was the design of the Mind Flayer. I think he was designed really well. I think he looked really good. But other than that, the fight was like 10 minutes long. And they no one in the group got hurt, killed. No one got even slightly injured. I mean, as far as I can recall, I mean, I've watched it twice. I rewatched it because it was just like I figured like if I rewatched it, maybe maybe it'd grow on me, and it did not grow on me. I still hated it just as much as I do. Again, the whole fight sequence was like 10 minutes long. I don't even know if it was a whole 10 minutes long. It was short. And basically what they did, keep in mind, actually, they're pulling up to the Mind Flayer's home world, where he came from, where his physical being is. And Jonathan has a flamethrower, and Nancy's got, an assault rifle, and I think Steve and Dustin had like those spear things that they used in season 4 against the bats. And they basically, Jonathan just lights it on fire, and they just shoot it a shit ton of times. I mean, they're just blasting it with fucking bullets. And that's it. I mean, it chases after them. They run. There's a couple sequences where it almost stomps on them because it's a huge monster. A huge fucking interdimensional evil being who has been the main villain of Stranger Things since season 1, and he doesn't kill anybody in the fight. He doesn't injure anybody in the fight, and he dies in 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes of fighting these kids. I mean, oh my god, and it's just like, how could you write a fight sequence between the main characters and the main fucking villain since the start of the show, who, again, I should say this, and I should really cement this into people's heads. This is an eldritch being that we're dealing with. Like he can get into your mind, he can control you. I mean, he's been doing this kind of stuff since day fucking one. Like he's been controlling people and pulling all the strings. Like he's the big giant boss guy. He's you know, I mean, he's an evil creature, and not just an evil creature, but he's like a big giant evil creature, and he's been the main and antagonist of the show. And then they just pull up and kill him, and that's it. I mean, and they also kill Vecna too, but I mean, I assumed Vecna was gonna die. I think he kind of had to die, but the Mind Flayer thing was just insane to me. Like how do these kids just pull up to this homeworld that they've never been to and kill this gigantic, evil, feral creature? In 10 minutes, and I mean, it's just like these are normal human beings that we're dealing with. These aren't like super abled people, except for Elle and Will. There's two super abled people, and Elle and Will did not even fight the Mind Flayer. Elle and Will fought Vecna, while everybody else dealt with the Mind Flayer. Will was in Vecna's mind, and he like ripped his arm off, I don't know, in a sequence, and Elle impaled Vecna on a tooth or something, whatever that thing was inside of the Mind Flayer. And then, but the rest of the people fought the Mind Flayer, the big boss. So there were no super abled people to help with the Mind Flayer at all. And yet these regular ass fucking people with just guns and a flamethrower. Oh, and Mike had a flare gun that he shot the weak point with. And they just killed this thing. The main boss, the main guy, evil, he's not even a guy, the main evil being of the show that has literally caused everything, him and Vecna, and they just get killed off, and Vecna made a little more sense because he was fighting against Elle and Will, so he's fighting against two people with powers. So, he was kind of fucked. But at the same time, I've seen people bring this up too, where, in previous episodes of season 5, Elle has struggled to lift a truck, and in one sequence she struggled to lift that concrete block covering the portal to the Upside Down, or the gate to the Upside Down. I guess I should probably call it a gate, not a portal. She struggled to lift the concrete block that the military put there to the Upside Down. And then all of a sudden she can jump between worlds. She could jump fucking however many feet or miles, however that worked. And that's another thing that pissed me off too, is we didn't even get to see like how Elle got to the Demogorgon world, the Mind Flayer world. We didn't get to see that. I mean, she just said that she could jump, and then there was like a couple floating islands that she could have jumped on, and yeah, I get that, but I kind of wanted to like, I mean, how did she like get all the way up there? I mean, obviously she did, but I was kind of excited to see if she, how far she could have pushed herself. But anyway, enough of that. But she got up there. But then, like, yeah, she's kind of been struggling to use her powers, and then all of a sudden, she can just, rip open the Mind Flayer and just kill Henry just like that. Now you could, and you could make the argument though that she was just, kind of in a flow state, like she was just really pissed off and she just wanted to get this shit done. And yeah, I could see that argument. I think that maybe her powers just started working when they needed to the most, which makes sense. But it just pissed me off though how this Obviously, very, very powerful creature just gets killed off in such a lame fucking way, you know. And he's been a part of the show. He's been the main villain of the show since season one, and he just dies just like that. And I don't know, that was a really big issue for me because I was excited to see how they were going to deal with the Mind Flayer, and they really, I mean, they just shot him, you know. Like I feel like even like if they were gonna kill him like that, at least make the fight a little longer. Maybe have someone get injured or killed because that's I mean that's it's just regular dudes, regular ass guys, just fucking lighting this guy up, you know, and apparently he just can't do anything about it, you know, which is just funny to me. Like how does that work? But aside from that, another thing that really pissed me off about the finale was that we never really got any answers to where the Mind Flayer came from, um, at all. Like why does this world exist? You know, how does it exist? Has he been there before Earth and like the world? You know, I don't know. How is he here? Why is he here? Um, why was that guy carrying that rock that Henry picked up and the Mind Flayer spoke to him through? Why was that guy, where was he taking it? What was he doing with it? How did they get that rock? Um, we never got any answers on that. The only backstory we got is how Henry became Vecna, and that makes sense, you know. And I'm glad we got those answers, but we didn't get really anything past that, you know. Like why was that rock even a thing in the first place? Did it fall from a meteor, or was it just like discovered? Was it already on? You know, like what? Where did that come from? Um, you know, where was that? How did we get to this point? You know, that pissed me off, and I really wanted more answers on the Mind Flayer. That's one reason why I was so excited to like actually watch the finale, was because I thought that we were gonna get like all these answers. You know, like where did he come from? Why is he here? And most importantly, why is he trying to take over the entire world? You know, why is he trying to merge his world and the others, you know, for what? I mean, obviously to kill people, you know, world domination, but why is he trying to take over Earth? Like he obviously has to have like a bigger plan for Earth, you know? Is he gonna save humans for slave labor? Like how is he gonna, you know, what is he gonna do? Why does he need Earth? Um I guess I'm not too sure. I mean, maybe it's just about food, you know, sustenance, and he was just trying to take over the earth for sustenance, you know, so he could have things to eat. Um, and maybe, but also like I feel like I just feel like if he really needed sustenance and just like why not just fucking have your demos, keep using the upside down and just keep kidnapping people and make people go missing and then just bring them to you. I feel like if you're an all-powerful being, or a very powerful being anyway, like I feel like you would be smart enough, because I mean the Mind Flayer is obviously a very smart creature. I mean he's been manipulating everything in the story to work out in his favor for the last 5 seasons, and then all of a sudden his plan is to just just what, like, I mean we never really got like the full version of the plan other than like kill humans. Okay, great, awesome. That was another thing that pissed me off. There's a lot of things that pissed me off about this whole finale, um and it just was not satisfying to watch at all. Another thing, about this whole thing, when they got to the Mind Flayer's world, or dimension, or whatever you want, dimension. I can't speak. When they got to the Mind Flayer's dimension, where were the Demogorgons? Where were the bats? Where were any of the creatures? Um, that's not that's not something that we really can just skip over. Like, that is their homeworld. That's where they come from, and they were just not there. I just feel like with Vecna's big plan to bring the worlds together, why in the fuck was was there no army to help? I mean, because Vecna obviously has no problem using Demogorgons to help him with everything else, but then all of a sudden he gets to this point where it's the final stage of his plan, the final stage of the Mind Flayer's plan to take over the whole entire world. And he doesn't have an army of Demogorgons or bats or anything. I mean, there was nothing there. There was nothing there. There was nothing to stop their advancement to Vecna or the Mind Flayer. There was nothing at all. Nobody there. Just Vecna and the kids and the Mind Flayer. So where are all the Demogorgons? Because there were no Demogorgons. There were no Demogorgons in the Upside Down either. None. Zero. Nada. So again, where are they? Where did they go? They're just chilling on vacation, sitting back in Hawaii, just hanging out. Like, they're just done because they know. Maybe they just knew that they were going to lose, so they're like, fuck this, I'm quitting. Like, okay. But, like, seriously, that's a major plot point. Or major plot... Jesus Christ, I can't speak. That's a major plot hole. Like, where were they all? And I actually... I watched a video earlier about the Duffer Brothers explaining where the Demogorgons... Or kind of explaining where the Demogorgons were. But... really, all they said was, well, they're there somewhere. I don't know. That's what they said. They're there somewhere. What do you mean they're there somewhere? They should be there. Why are they not with their boss? The whole creature, the gigantic mind-controlling creature that controls them, and they're just there somewhere else. They're just hanging out. Like, again, where the fuck are they? Where are all the creatures that the cast has had such a hard time fighting throughout the years? They're just gone. And that was interesting to me too. It's obvious that the finale was not about the fight. The finale was not about really getting answers on, like, the Mind Flayer or why he wanted to take over the world or any of that stuff. It was obvious that the finale was mostly just about, they just wanted it to end. Like, to me, it just felt like they were like, okay, how can we end this in a way that is kind of cool, but mostly just end it? Like, we don't really want to have anything, like, we don't really want to give people any sort of, like, answers on anything. We just want all the characters to have closure and then just end it. And that's what it felt like. I mean, the first half of the episode was kind of just like, the conflict, them trying to get into into the other dimension, and, Elle and Callie, and, in the head of Henry. And then the second half of the episode was just, I mean, literally just all the characters and finding out where they go and how they are going to live the rest of their lives. And Mike obviously having trouble dealing with Elle's death. And and it just feels like to me like Elle died for no reason. She really just died for no reason. I mean, it was just, that was just stupid. It was the stupidest death I think I've ever seen in my life. And you can make the argument, well, she was killing herself because she wanted to save everybody else the hassle of having to deal with the military, and you could make that argument, yes, and that argument makes sense. But with the season finale, and you're ending the show, there are better ways to go about it. Um, like it just, and it just feels like with Elle's whole character, like she just, her whole thing and everybody's whole thing was just hold out hope that we can, because we can deal with this, we can kill these fuckers and stop all this government bullshit and just live a normal life. And and that was like the whole shtick, like, okay, we can get out of this, and it's going to be tough and it's going to be a long road, but we can do it because that's, and then Collie showed up and was like, no, you just got to kill yourself, man. And that's pretty much all she did. She told Elle, hey, my plan is good because otherwise it's never going to stop and you should just kill yourself. And Elle was like, oh shit, that's pretty fair. I think I'll do that. It's like, okay, sure, but I, 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 I it's just like, cool. I mean, you could see both points of it, though. I mean, one side is, yeah, that makes sense because she just wants, she doesn't want anybody else to suffer like she did, and she just thinks that they're never gonna stop coming for her, and that could be true. They have been pretty relentless the whole time until the very end, which is another thing I have a gripe about, because at the very end they pull up, are holding everybody hostage. Where's the girl? Where's the girl? The girl kills herself, and then they just let everybody go, just like that. They're just like, yeah, that's fine. You only killed like 1,000 of my fucking soldiers, and you only know about all of this shit that we've done on all the experiments, but we'll let you go. We'll let you all just go. It's fine. No one's gonna believe you anyway. What? So you're telling me that you know uh, these people who have been like the second the second uh, you know the secondary villain, but who have also, I mean, been on the forefront of a lot of issues in Stranger Things. Like a lot of the conflict has been because of them, and they're just like, you know what? You just leave it alone. Who cares, right? You've only seen everything that we've ever done, but we're just gonna let you go because it's no big deal. Like, it's no big deal. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, they obviously didn't say that, but like, seriously, what did they say? How did that go down? We just skipped past that, and it was just 18 months later. Okay, and Hopper was able to become a police chief, and everybody's able to just live their lives. And it's like, they have done experiments that, like, if we're done in real life, like, no one would ever know about except for these people. And so you think that, like, you really think that these people who are obviously like evil people are just going to be like, oh yeah, all of these kids and this police chief can just go become a police chief and it's not going to be a big deal? Well, actually, I have a theory. It will be a big deal. Because if any one of these people came out and said, hey, yeah, like the military, has been doing these, the government has been doing these horrible fucking experiments on people and creating, these people with powers and doing all this shit. And he came out with that information, like, the government would obviously want it shut down. So, like, why didn't they just, why wasn't there a sequence where, like, they had to kill everybody? or get out of some kind of military base or something when they were held, or like there was no sequence like that. There was nothing like that. They just, oh, Elle's killing herself, I guess we can just pack up and go. And it's like, but what the fuck are you talking about? you know And I actually think I watched, that same video I watched where the Duffer Brothers said, oh, well, the Demogorgons were there somewhere. They also mentioned the military thing. And they said, well, I think they just probably packed up and just left after that, packed their stuff. And it's like, well, why? What do you mean they just packed up and left, probably? And I think he actually said probably. I think they actually were like, well, they probably just left. Probably, they like, it just feels like they were so unsure of events that were even happening. Like they didn't even think about these things, and that's why it just feels so lazy of them. Like they didn't even think, And it's been such an intricate story this entire time, and then all of a sudden the ending comes along, and it's just like loosey goosey, fucking piss everywhere. Like, oh, my fucking asshole's loose, and I'm just shitting all over the place, and that's it. And that's the story. My butthole is just spraying fucking words out, and I can't control it, and it doesn't even matter because people are gonna watch it, and it's the end anyway, so who cares, right? But it's like, oh my fucking god, like it's just like they didn't think about any of this shit at all. And it's like, how do you not think about what the military's gonna do? Why didn't you write that into anything? And even if you didn't really implement it into like the actual episode, like at least have an answer for people when they ask about it. Like when they say, hey, what did the military do when they found all these people and held them hostage? Well, they probably just went home. No, I don't think they probably just went home, but whatever you say, dude. Like, fuck Christ. And another thing that really pissed me off too was there was no stakes for anybody. No one had any sort of like, no one was ever in any sort of danger in the show. Like I knew when Steve fell off the tower, I knew they were gonna catch his ass. I fucking knew it. I was sitting there watching the show like, yeah, oh, he's gonna die, Like, if he really would have died, I would have been like, oh shit, he actually fucking died. But he didn't die, because I knew he wasn't gonna die, and everybody else probably knew he wasn't gonna die either. Because nobody in the show, or nobody in the finale was ever in any danger. Throughout the show, people were in danger, and that's what made the show good, was because most of our favorite characters were always in danger. Like Lucas in season 4, when, he was trying to play cover. Eddie in season 4. Dustin. Like everybody in the show has always been in some type of danger throughout the entire thing. I mean, Will from the very beginning, like everybody. The whole Russian thing with Hopper and when they come and rescue them, and like there has always been the underlying danger for all of these characters, and then all of a sudden nobody cares. Nobody's even feel like there's no anxiety inducing feeling for anybody. No one is like, oh my gosh, like I feel like they're, no character has that feeling, because it's just like everyone's gonna survive, and they just kept hyping it up to be like a dark episode, and but it's like, no, fuck you, there's no darkness about anything in this episode at all. And that's the reason why Stranger Things was so great in the first place, because it was a dark show. It was a dark, scary show to watch. And it was that, like, the first season was a very dark season. Like, this woman's kid went missing. She's trying to find him. It's anxiety inducing. Like, we're wondering where the fuck he is. And then we see, like, the Demogorgons, and they're fucking scary as shit. And we're like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, there's this mystery surrounding all of it. And it's just like, okay, this is scary. Like, people are in danger, and I feel like people could die at any moment, even characters that I love. And that was what made Stranger Things so great in the first place, was that it was it was always like about how these characters were in danger, and it was always like this dark story. And the Duffer Brothers said, well, we didn't want to disappoint anybody with any deaths or anything in the finale. But it's funny that they said that, because at its core, Stranger Things is a disappointing show. It's supposed to be a sad, disappointing show. Like, you're supposed to watch your characters get killed, or some of them, because it's supposed to be like that. It's a dark, scary story, and you are supposed to have dark, scary moments in a dark, scary story. And when no one is even in any danger whatsoever throughout the entire season, or throughout the entire series finale, it just feels not dark and not scary. I wasn't scared throughout any of it. And yeah, Elle's death was pretty sad, because Elle has been a character throughout the entire show, obviously. And, she's been an important character throughout the entire show. And I love Elle, just like everyone else. But it just didn't have that much emotional impact at the end, because it was just kind of like, well, nothing else happened, and it just felt like after all that underwhelmingness, I was just like, really, that's it, you're just gonna kill her off, and ooh, darn it, like when she died, like I was at that point where I really didn't even care what happened in the episode anymore, because I was just like, are we for real? Like, okie dokie, you know. But at its core, like, it's supposed to be a disappointing show. It's supposed to disappoint you. You're supposed to be like, oh, what? Like, that's sad. That's not fair. Like, god damn it. And none of that feeling ever popped up for me. And I feel like for most people that watched it, just they just threw that out the window. And that just really, really annoys me, because I just wish that, you know, things were different. Like, I wish that they would have wrote a story that matched up with the rest of the show, And again, like, well, not again, but I'm glad that the characters got happy endings, because I do love them. And so obviously, like, a part of me is glad that they all got to be, where they wanted to be in life. But I'm also not glad that they all got to be where they wanted to be in life, because, I mean, like, in reality, who the fuck is going to get out of a situation like this unscathed? And none of them have, like, at the end, like, they're all just kind of like happy, and no one is depicted with any sort of like mental illness, or like PTSD, or so, like, I'd be full of PTSD. Like, I'd see a fucking dark room and I'd be like, fucking Demogorgon in there, man, I'm not going in there. Like, I'd be fucked up for the rest of my life. And when we see all the characters, going through the motion of ending their story, and like everyone moving on, it just feels like everyone has just kind of just forgot about everything that's happened throughout the last fucking 5 seasons. Like, it just, there was one moment, I guess, where Mike went missing, and that was like, okay, I guess that's pretty fair. um and it was like a callback to like season 1, when Joyce was calling Karen, oh, where's Will, but that was pretty much it, and that was like, it just felt like, is Karen the only one? I think that's her name. um Karen Wheeler, is that her name? I think that's her name. Anyway, is Karen the only one with any sort of like, fucked upness in her head? Is that it? Is she the only one? Like, is everybody else just okay? And it's like, you can make the argument that like everybody's okay because they've been through the shit, for so long that it's just like normal to them or whatever. And I guess you could make that argument. But really, if you went through all that shit and you had to fight this giant fucking creature and stab him in the fucking ass a bunch of times and almost die like hundreds of times, I would be a little screwed up in the head, and it's just like no one was really depicted with any sort of like anything at all except for Mike, who was, I mean, sad about Elle dying because, they were, together or whatever. And, that whole thing with like she brought him into her mind and said goodbye. And, he was quite clearly sad about that. And he made up that whole story of her surviving to cope with that. But like everybody else just kind of like moved on, and it's just like, okay, um, great, like Dustin with that whole high school speech, which was just, uh, I mean, it was cool, but it was just like, okay, I just kind of wish that instead of that whole thing, like we got something else. It just felt like a really mediocre and disappointing end to the Stranger Things story. Because when I first started watching it, I envisioned an ending that would just be, horrible, because with these, like with stories like this, you envision endings that aren't going to really make you happy, but at the end of the day, that's a good thing, right? It's not supposed to make you happy. It's not supposed to make you all cheerful and joyous. It's supposed to make you sad and disappointed, and you know but even if they all did get happy endings, like I still wish we would have got some answers on, where the mind flayer came from, and why he was, you know, trying to take over Earth, and how did this world get formed, like we didn't really get any answers on that, or anything else really for that matter, except for, a couple things. And there's a lot of things that a lot of other people have gripes with, smaller little details. But those are just kind of my biggest ones. Like that whole episode, I was pretty much just like disappointed with pretty much everything. Um, and I hate to say this, but I mean, I wish at least one, like, one other main character died, you know, or gotten injured or something, because especially like all the people who are fighting the fucking mind flayer and no one got injured, and that just really just kind of sent me, like it just sent me over the edge. Like I was just like, what the fuck is this? I mean, no one gets hurt in this entire fight, and it's just like you guys are fighting this eldritch creature that can control people and is obviously very powerful, and you just light them on fire and everyone's like, hell yeah, we fucking got them. Like, you guys are not the hell divers, like we are not fucking Master Chief out here. You guys are normal fucking people, who some are in high school. I think Nancy and Jonathan graduated, but either way, like these people are just normal people. They're not super soldiers, and even Elle with her powers, like she's not. I mean, she's super abled and she has the powers, and so does Will. But Will just learned how to use his shit, like and you're telling me that, like you know, like he just learned how to do this shit, and I just feel like his powers progressed way too fast. I mean, maybe he's more powerful than Elle, but like Elle took a long time to learn how to use her shit. I mean, she was in that lab for a long time, doing experiments on while they're doing experiments on her so that she can learn how to use her powers. And you know, I don't know, I don't know. Just there's too many plot holes and too many things, and it's just pissed me off. I was just pissed off about it. But I'm gonna end the video. Stop ranting about this. Those were just my gripes with the season finale. I know it's just not everybody has the same opinion, but I do. I have the same opinion as most people. because I just didn't like it. I just thought it was very underwhelming. But if you agree or if you disagree, whatever. I really don't care. I don't think that if you like I think if you disagree, I just don't think you really understood what Stranger Things was really about. Because again, like at its core value, it is a dark, scary, sad show, and this series finale was just not any of those things. And so I don't know. But anyway, uh, yeah, I'm gonna end the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my little rant about Stranger Things, and I have some other stuff coming up in the works, some videos. Um, so stay tuned for those. Anyway, I'm out of here. Bye.